Stay where you are. I have two great guests and two great discussions coming up next on Views and Vibes.
He's the face of our future, tutoring and mentoring tomorrow's leaders. She's the face of hope, helping communities recover from devastating disasters. He's the face of independence, making sure that those who need assistance can remain in their own homes. These are the faces of experience, making a difference for generations. This is Senior Corps. Visit nationalservice.gov. This message brought to you by the Corporation for National and Community Service.
The Prince George's County Social Innovation Fund works as a catalyst for social impact in Prince George's County. Its mission is to build social capital and invest in new approaches to solving a broad range of challenges within our county. Here to talk more about the PGC Social Innovation Fund and its 40 Under 40 Recognition Awards, please welcome to Views and Vibes the founder and director of the Prince George's County Social Innovation Fund, Tonia Wellons. Welcome to Views and Vibes.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out. Talk to me a little bit about this innovation fund. How did it begin? Was it your brainchild, or did you work with somebody to get it started? Where did this come from?
So it's an interesting story. I think it's interesting. I was working for the World Bank Group at the time and doing on a leadership development program in Tbilisi, Georgia, former Soviet Republic.
Wow.
When the story about Jack Johnson broke.
Okay.
And while we were there, I became sort of the spokesperson for Prince George's County. My colleagues, it was about 30 of us who were there on the training program, knew that I was from Prince George's County, and I had to sort of create this defense about who we were and what we were up to. And while I was there, I'd long had an interest in doing something in the county. I'd lived here for almost 15 years at the time, but most of my time was spent, commuting to DC for work. And
that's a lot of time commuting too.
A lot of time
Right.
commuting for work, but also traveling and working on a broad range of social issues around the world.
Okay.
But while I was there, I came up with the idea of thinking about the assets that Prince George's County has and how we can use them to strengthen what we need from a development perspective, but also from an image perspective. Really telling the story about who Prince Georgians really are,
Right.
and our strengths and our assets as a way of sort of offering a counter view than what the Jack Johnson story showed at the time. And that's how it all began, out of a desire to do something in the place where I called home.
Nice. Now, who did you actually work with to get this going? Because it's not something that you can just do by yourself.
Right.
You have to be connected to people within the county. Who did you work with, and how did you build those relationships to get this started?
It was interesting. I think that the timing was right for the Innovation Fund. There were so many things that were happening that did not always present the most positive
And what
light.
year was this?
This was in 2010, the end of 2010.
Okay.
I put the concept note together while I was in Tbilisi, came home and just called immediately a few of my friends that were connected to the philanthropic sector here in the county. Had a meeting with Desiree Griffin Moore, who's the executive director of the Prince George's County Community Foundation, and just shared with her the idea. I didn't know her. I wasn't well connected in the county at all. But I shared with her the idea and the concept, and the fact that I had, done some similar innovative work in, places around the world gave me a bit of credibility, and they liked the idea, and allowed me to establish the fund under the auspices of the Community Foundation. And the rest is kind of history. The 40 Under 40 was our flagship initiative that we created, and I'd love to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, we definitely have to get into that. But,
Yeah.
but looking at the fund itself,
Yeah.
what are the different components of the actual innovation fund?
Right, so we really look at it in a couple of ways. We really see ourselves as being on the cutting edge of issues and opportunities in Prince George's County.
For example?
From a policy perspective, one example is this whole notion around bringing food trucks to Prince George's County. Things like that, things that can create a bit of an economic opportunity and economic engine for Prince George's County, but really, really focusing on ways of connecting the people who live here to both business and civic engagement opportunities. So it's, you know, highlighting the people who live here, but also connecting them to the opportunities that exist here.
Now, what do you think some of the roadblocks are to connecting those opportunities? Because to me, it seems like with the people who live in Prince George's County, they all work in D.C. or maybe Baltimore. They don't work where they live.
Right.
And so when they do come back to the county, they're going out to eat, and they're going home, and that's it. So what are some of the roadblocks that actually keep that from those connections from happening?
It's not easy, to be honest with you, and I've been in it now for about 5 years. The county is 800 square miles, 800,000 people, and connectivity is probably our weak point. There isn't a central repository, which is why I kind of decided to focus on the 21 to 40-year-old demographic. And really think about issues of relevance, things that are going to make Prince George's County continuously relevant for that demographic. So there was a theme, a connectivity theme, relevance, how to make opportunities appeal to that demographic specifically. And then it's really identifying opportunities. So I'm on the constant hunt for ways of making the connection between that demographic and some of the needs in the county. And then also making sure that the people in various positions of authority, like the county executive, like the Chamber of Commerce, like the Economic Development Council Corporation, are aware of who we have, the assets that we have in terms of people, and what they can bring to bear. So it's a constant drumming up, on both sides to make the connectivity happen and to make it real.
Well, you talked a little bit about demographics and talking about working with that age group, but also looking at the demographics of the county itself.
Right.
You're looking at more of a higher social economic class out to the eastern part, Upper Marlboro, northern Prince George's County, especially compared to southern Prince George's County.
Right.
There's going to be a big difference between what you see in College Park and Hyattsville and what you can see in Forestville and Temple Hills.
Absolutely.
How do you connect those, such a wide range in economic and social, people?
Absolutely. So we've tried to do it a number of ways. One, by making sure that our stakeholder outreach is to a broad range of people across that demographic who represent the all of the districts in Prince George's County, all the councilmatic districts in Prince George's County. It's staying closely connected to members of county council, because that way we're able to touch all parts of the county.
Good.
And then really thinking through what are some of the policy triggers that have an impact across the county. Again, it's not easy because there's so many different things that you can, so many different avenues that you can pursue, but we've really, really honed in on economic opportunity and civic engagement. I mean, those are the pieces where we think can make the strongest impact in the shortest amount of time, and really keep that demographic interested in and committed to Prince George's County.
Now, you talked about this a central repository. And we're lacking that here in Prince George's County. When you look at, say, Montgomery County, and they have downtown Silver Spring, and we're trying to develop more of the arts districts, around Route 1, the Route 1 corridor.
Right.
Would you consider that to be a developing repository for what can happen, what you can bring to the people in Prince George's County?
I think it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out, right? The county, again, 800 square miles. We're going to have a downtown in northern part of the county and probably a downtown in the southern part of the county. I'm not 100% convinced that we're going to be able to create that that central place here in the way that we've seen it play out in other places. But I do think that there's a huge opportunity using our social media, our government infrastructure, and the economic opportunities that are coming our way. I think connectivity is going to be about place, but it's also going to be about sort of notions about what's in the best interest of the county, and getting people committed to and centered around those core principles, like business opportunities going to Prince George's County residents, things that resonate for people who've made the commitment to live here, but who are also wanting to stop the outward commute.
Right.
There's a statistic that 60% of Prince George's County residents commute outside of the county every day for work. There's a strong interest in reversing that outward commute to some extent. And I think in order for us to do that and really feel the effects of it, it means creating more opportunity for county residents, people who are already invested here.
We both mentioned the 40 Under 40 Recognition Awards.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that and some of the human capital that you're able to discover through those awards that are within the county.
The Innovation Fund is
I can
probably...
see the pride. Look at that. I can see the pride already building up.
It makes me excited. It makes me very excited. It's one of the most important contributions I think we've been able to make over the last 4.5 years by really searching far and wide to identify top talent that lives in Prince George's County and who are making a difference across a wide range of sectors. There's arts and humanities, business, education, public service, health and fitness, science and engineering. You know this because you were recognized in arts and humanities.
Yes, I was. 2014
2014.
Yep.
Congratulations
Thank you.
again.
Thank you for that as well.
It was a pleasure, but we just realized that there's just so much talent that kind of flies below the radar here, and we wanted to make a point of making sure that we highlighted this talent, made it known to the county, made it known to the region, and then identified opportunities for our 40 Under 40 honorees to further engage and to further connect, both with the civic opportunities here in the county, but also with each other. Because of the widespread geography and the no central place place for connectivity, it's not easy to make the connection. But by these creating these 40 Under 40 cohorts over the years, we're creating a community, a community of people who are committed to some of the same things. Again, across sectors. I used to refer to it as a bit of a renaissance for Prince George's County, because that's exactly how I perceive it. It's ways of connecting the artists with scientists, all within a central locale right here in the county. I'm excited about it.
I mean, it's great. I mean, so far I think on this show, I probably had about 6 or 7 honorees so far, from all areas, from the arts and humanities, from the education, from the civic, side. So it's been great for me, just in terms of being able to tap into what's right here in Prince George's County and not having to look into D.C. or Montgomery County or to Virginia.
Yeah, that's the story that makes me the happiest. And I hear it time and time again, which makes me know for sure that we're on to something, of people who just didn't have, they didn't have the one-to-one connection. Right. We've heard of business opportunities coming out of out of 40 Under 40. We've seen partnerships, a lot of partnerships to emerge. I'm just excited about kind of what we've done so far, but what's in our future.
Now, why 40 Under 40 as opposed to 30 Under 30?
You want the truth about that?
Please break it down.
All right. So the 21 to 40-year-old demographic is the fastest growing demographic in the county. Okay. And at the time that I created, I was in the under 40 category, to be completely honest with you.
So you want to make sure you were included in that group as well.
I had to be included in it.
Right. Right.
But no, it's the fastest growing demographic, and I wanted to make sure that we were able to capture that the youthful energy that cut across millennials through Gen Xers, to be able to make a difference in the county. That was the right demographic to focus on. I'm convinced.
Now, where do you go from here?
So it's interesting. We're spending a lot of time. We spent a lot of time last year, kind of reflecting, looking back. We're approaching our 5-year anniversary. Can you believe 5 years have happened so fast?
Great.
And we're really looking to deepen our impact. So we went kind of far and wide. We did a lot of very interesting things. We created a co-working space in Hyattsville.
Really?
We launched 40 Under 40. We did a big effort that connected out-of-school activities to the public schools, trying to mirror the curricula. Nice. We went far and wide, and now we're going deep. We're really focusing on deepening the engagement of the stakeholders that we've already recognized and acknowledged, but also really drilling down on economic opportunity, entrepreneurship, and jobs for people who live here.
That's fantastic. And where can they find out more information about the Innovation Fund?
You can learn more about us at www.innovateprincegeorges.org. Do people say www anymore? Not really.
They throw it in there where they can.
Innovateprincegeorges.org.
Okay, we'll make sure we put that information up on the website.
Perfect.
But now we have to actually go to break, so we'll be right back with our next guest to talk about single fatherhood on Views and Vibes.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
No, you're talking to me. Oh, okay, that's how we're going. In recognition of last month's celebration of Father's Day, I thought it would be a great idea to talk to some fathers who have the responsibility of raising their children by themselves. But because of their busy schedules, I was only able to get one into the studio today. Now, I'm not taking anything away from or diminishing the job of all the mothers out there doing the same thing. But it's rare that you get to hear the stories, the struggles, and the triumphs of the single father. So joining me today to take an in-depth look at what it means to be a single dad, please welcome to the show, Mr. Bomani Armah. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Bomani Armah.
Thank you very much.
He's been on the show 4, 5, 6, 7 times,
12, 15, something like that.
I'll
keep coming back every time you call me.
We're going to make it 40. There's always a different topic to talk about.
Yes, exactly.
But this time we're talking about fatherhood, single fatherhood.
Yes.
And now you have a set of twins.
Yes.
And how old are they?
They are 9.
9 years old.
Yeah.
9 years old. And you are doing this on your own for the most part.
Well, actually, no. I'm actually splitting it with their mom.
Okay.
So I'm single, but not single as in by myself.
Okay.
But I am navigating the world of I guess the modern family, and it's working out pretty well so far. I mean, I love my children. One of the things I've always dreamed about was being a father, and I'm fortunate to have been in a relationship, and I guess still in a relationship with someone who's making this process this easy.
Okay.
I have my sons 4 to 5 days out of the week.
Right.
They're homeschooled, as we like to call community schooled. So we get a lot of support from our community and our family in general. And I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world.
And actually, that's the one thing I really want to talk to you about, too. I was having a conversation with a couple friends of mine a couple of days ago, just talking about, how you attain balance, when you're younger. And for me, it was always about not just being raised just by my parents, having a whole community there, having aunts, uncles, their friends who all had influence on me. Whereas you see nowadays, people kind of take their children away from that environment. They don't have as many people influencing them. So all they have are the same psychosis of their parents. And if they only have one parent, they're only learning from that one source. But in your case, your children have a lot more people influencing them as well.
No, definitely.
And so was that conscious? Was that a conscious effort to do that?
Completely. I actually wanted. I think on some level, I was taking it to a more extreme level of what I had as a child. I mean, I'm a proud product of PG County. Grew up right around
Prince George's, man. Prince George's County.
Prince George's?
Yeah, Prince George's. We don't say PG anymore.
Oh, man.
PG isn't PC.
Oh,
so
man, I like that. Did I just date myself by calling it?
You really did.
Well,
you
then
really
I'll show you how long it's been since I've been here. All right, well, in Prince George's County, I just love the environment of being around just a mixture of people of all different socioeconomic backgrounds, all different social backgrounds. It's interesting. I love the fact that it's one of the it's the richest and most populous black county in the country.
Right.
But black is so diverse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Black is not a monolithic idea.
Right.
And so I'm exposed to a lot of different types of blackness. And so I feel like I wanted to do the exact same thing with my children.
Right.
And they have a very, I think, well-rounded community that they're a part of, and they're learning a lot from it every day.
Okay. You said they're homeschooled. Okay, so what does that actually mean? What do they learn? Are they at the house learning? Are there other people they're teaching, or is it specifically on you?
So there's a whole bunch of things going on. There are a lot of, both their mom and I have schedules and careers that allow us to basically set our own schedule and take our children with us when we want. We don't do it a lot because we want them to have learning opportunities, and sometimes you can't do it in our working situations. But both of us are also educators.
Right.
So my sons now have become part of my workshops when I go to teach in schools throughout the state. And then we're part of a couple of different homeschooling collectives. One is called the Sankofa Homeschool Collective, and another is called Little Genius. And that's when a whole bunch of homeschool parents come together and hire teachers to come teach a class for the day. The parents stay there as well. We spend the entire week doing homework related to what we did those days.
Wow.
And then we make up the curriculum as we go along. I mean, really, in order to teach a child, all you have to do is answer their questions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can take my sons with me all the time. I'm talking to them all the time. And sometimes, you know, there's an old commercial about this lady who spent all day with the kids, and then she tried to have an adult conversation. She's still speaking in like baby talk, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I have to turn that off and on. But I wouldn't rather do anything else. I believe like the legacy I leave with my children is the most important thing I leave. And a lot of people are trying to figure out how to spend time with their children and work them around their schedule. I've lived my life from the idea of figuring out how to work for my family in the other direction.
Incorporate
it the other way around.
I was going to ask you that, you know, because you're also a working artist. You're a teacher, but you're also a working artist.
Yes.
You know, how do you find that balance, you know, between, because you can't take your kids everywhere.
Right.
You know, there's going to be certain locations where you can't bring them with you. You know, so how do you find that balance between, you know, putting your kids first, but also maintaining your art?
Right. So their mom and I, Shay and I, have worked out a really good arrangement between us. I mean, whatever happened in our relationship, both of us have really always prized being a parent. And so we've been able to put our relationship aside and make sure that we've both been there to the point where I think we've made other people uncomfortable, how comfortable we are with each other. And that's made it really easy. My parents are here. My extended family is here. I'm very, and when I say extended family, that's my artistic family. You know, the poets here in Washington, D.C. are very much a close-knit group. The musicians here, which is another group of artists that I'm here, are very much a close-knit group. So we are always swapping. We're swapping gigs and babysitters. And so we've been able to make it work. And I have not found. I don't feel like I'm lacking anything at this point, and it's a really good feeling.
Now, what are you doing to keep your kids busy? I know they're also artists like you, you know, and you have them doing a number of different things. What are the things that you have them in, and did you specifically get them into those particular organizations and groups for any particular reason?
Yeah, so...
was there a plan behind this?
Yeah, so from the beginning, even before I had children, and the discussions I had with their mom, was always making sure that my children did a martial art, did a team sport, and played an instrument. The martial art basically just, I mean, as a young age, it's good to know what your body can do. It's good to have that level of discipline. It's good to be able to use that in a practical purpose. Team sports, I mean, everything I do is in a collaborative effort. And it's not even about, especially at that age, it's not even about winning. I mean, they say that all the time. But you really got to learn how to be in a room with 10 people you don't know and get to know each other and accomplish a goal. And so I encourage all parents to put their children in some kind of team sport. And then musical instruments, I mean, that's the most, I mean, you learn how to express yourself that way. It's also, especially if my sons take African drum, if you speak drum, you're fluent in every language. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can go, they can drop you anywhere, and you can figure out a way to get down when the party starts at least. You know what I'm saying? And they'll want to be a part of you. So and so being able to talk cross cultures, cross language, I think that's one of the things you got to teach your children how to do, or at least allow those opportunities. Other than that, really, and this has really been our homeschool philosophy, is teaching children processes so they can learn things on their own.
For example?
I mean, real simple things that we've learned, like the writing process, editing, brainstorming, editing, revising, publishing, the scientific process, the engineering design process. There's a focus, and when I say I homeschool, sometimes people are afraid of homeschooling in the sense that, I'm like trying to protect my children from the outside world.
Right.
I have absolutely no problem with the outside world. My son walked up to some people preaching at the corner in Georgetown and picked up a pamphlet, stuff I don't believe in at all, but I know I've trained my son to ask questions, so he was asking them questions that was stumping him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about the exposure. I'm not worried about the school system. There are a lot of things I would like for PG County school system to be better, but I've been in a lot of school systems, and PG County is getting the job done. And the teachers and the administrators are very dedicated to bringing the education to the people. But the reason I homeschooled is, like, no one's going to give them more attention than I am.
Right.
No one's going to pay attention to detail. The one year they were in regular school and they're twins, I started realizing that teachers, just because they're dealing with 30 kids,
they don't even use their names, do they?
They don't take the time to learn them apart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I completely understand if you confuse them, but if for someone who's spending every day with them, you know what I'm saying? And I had a pre-K teacher one time say, your son hit a girl in the playground. I was like, which one? She was like, I don't know, one of them. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? Who am I supposed to discipline?
Punch everybody.
Just punish everybody, right? But like, I very intentionally have like done what has made me comfortable and feel good and love my everyday. And I did that before my children were born. I think that helped me set up a situation that allows me to bring them on my everyday now. You know what I'm saying? I worked really hard to have an artistic career where I can bring them everywhere, and it's working out beautifully.
Now, do you ever worry about running them too much? You know, you have them in so many different activities. You're homeschooling them. You know, do you ever feel like, okay, you're gonna burn them out with everything that they're doing?
I don't worry about it, but I do keep that in the back of my mind, especially when we're trying to keep up with schedules. I mean, one of the crucial things we decided as a family was, since they're twins and they've been right next to each other, like this far away from each other every day, all day for 9 years, is to put them into separate team sports.
Good.
And it was a genius idea until they both started happening at the same time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then we're worried about running around too much. But I think we've also been trying to stay balanced. I mean, I honestly sometimes think my sons are having like Huckleberry Finn type childhoods. You know what I'm saying? Where
just free out in the world.
Yeah, we just open the door. You know what I'm saying? Come back. At my apartment, the street lights don't come on early enough for me, so their signal to come back is when they hear the drum call in the djembe. It's about as black and African as you can get. I'm very proud of it. I come out to the balcony, hit it, bop, ba-da, bop, ba-da, ba-da, bop. You can hear it from like 3 blocks every direction. They're back in like 2 minutes. It's perfect.
And what about for them? You know, when you talk to them, do they see how unique of an experience that they're having, being homeschooled and everything that you have them doing?
They do, and I think that sometimes they miss it, and I try to remind them. But then it's, you know, something adults always try to tell young people is you don't understand how good you have it, and they never will understand that.
Right.
You can't really explain to, you know, I see adults all the time trying to, oh, that's just your bike. Wait till you get big and you have big problems. Like, no, you're 8. That's the entire world. So I get it, and I get it myself. Like, I understand that I come from, like, my father's a great father. He's a great dad. I think he cherishes that more than anything else. You can tell by how he prioritizes his life. And my father didn't know his father. I tell this when I work with young people in these situations all the time. My father didn't know his father, but my father is evidence that the cycle can break. And my father also knew his uncles and his grandfather and the men in his community. And so the active conversation about men being responsible for each other and for their family and for the next generation and for the previous generation is a very active conversation that happens in my house. And so my sons understand where they are in the continuum, and we keep explaining it to them every day.
Now, what kind of advice would you have for people out there, for fathers out there who want to be more active in their child's life or their children's life, or those fathers who are single parents or who are, you know, solely responsible for their children? What kind of advice would you have for them based on the experiences you've had, you know, spending so much time with your children?
Definitely. Well, I mean, unfortunately, the first advice I usually always have to give to a single father is advice on how to deal with the relationship with the parent, with the other parent, with the mom. I'm dealing with a whole bunch of friends who are dealing with child support issues. Fortunately, my relationship has worked out where we haven't had to use child support. But I know people who are completely being abused by the system.
Right.
I know fathers who are absolutely great fathers, and maybe even, you know, the mother of their children taking bad advice just decided immediately to go through the legal system, not understanding that they're really just putting a court case on someone who really wants to be an active part. And so one of the things I'm passionate about as a father is, and I've been working with a whole bunch, I don't know if you've had Jenks Morton on this show. There's a brother you definitely want to interview, but him and some other brothers of mine have been talking about having this conversation about how to get brothers who are trying to be more active, who are having these legal problems being more active in their children's lives, being able to make that happen.
And I actually have somebody who I'm going to bring on to talk about that in one of the next episodes. He's supposed to be here today, but
Got you. Not busy people.
Everybody's busy, man. But, you know, we actually have to go to Actually, we're done. So I'd like to thank Tonia Wellons and Bomani Armah for joining me today. You can find out more about my guests by visiting our website, viewsandvibes.com. Until next time, I'm Tariiq Walton, and this has been Views and Vibes. Have a good one, y'all.